Konnichiwa, Decode. Konnichiwa, Tokyo. Konnichiwa, mixed reality developers. I am deeply honored to be here with all of you today. It's incredible to think about 12 months ago is when we started shipping Hololens devices to the United States and Canada. And since that moment in time, wow, you, my friends, have been creating experiences not possible on any other platform or any other device. You formed a vibrant community and inspired us with your creativity. Over the last year, over 22,000 developers created more than 70,000 transformational concepts for HoloLens. We spent over 5.5 million hours immersed in your holographic experiences. I've been inspired over the last year, and some of the most inspiring innovations I have seen for HoloLens have come from right here in Japan. Take, for instance, how from kindergarten to university, mixed reality has been changing curriculums for how people learn here in Japan. I can't imagine what it'll feel like to be a child learning physics, biology, chemistry, or history through the lens of mixed reality. Another super inspiring development here in Japan is a company, Hololens. This is a company led by Naoyuki Taniguchi and Dr. Sugimoto. Now, what they're doing is they're essentially taking high-precision 3D images to help doctors prepare for operations with holograms. They take these 3D images and they place them right over the patient's body so that the doctors can refer to the images while they're making these operations. Oops. I apologize. So it's not surprising to me that even though we only launched HoloLens and started shipping devices here in Japan just 6 months ago, doesn't surprise me at all that Japan is already our fastest growing mixed reality market. It warrants repeating. Japan is our fastest growing mixed reality market. And I just love how around the globe and here in Japan, amazing hackathons are taking place, where developers like yourselves are coming together to learn from one another, are coming together to form teams and entire companies around mixed reality. So let's take a quick look. So let's talk about mixed reality. Over the last 12 months or so, I'm confused at all of this talk in the industry about virtual reality versus augmented reality. Who's going to get to scale first? And where you, as a developer, should be placing your bets. Now, I don't want any of us to be confused. These are not separate or distinct concepts. Augmented reality, virtual reality, and holograms. These are just labels for different points on the mixed reality continuum. I don't understand all this talk about or virtual reality, or augmented reality, or holograms. Mixed reality is a unifying term. It's a term that reasons in terms of ands, not ors. Mixed reality reasons in terms of augmented reality and virtual reality, and of course, holograms. Mixed reality, when you think about it in these terms, will enable us to freely and instinctually mix real people, places, and things with virtual people, places, and things. So let's take a look at how this actually feels in terms of an example. Here, we have a real office, it's a real place, with real people and some real objects. Now, imagine for a moment that all of us had a dial, a mixed reality dial, and we could move this dial to essentially take real people, places, and things and make them into virtual people, places, or things. So we'll take our mixed reality dial and let's adjust reality by essentially adding virtual objects to this physical space. Notice how these objects are aware of the surfaces in the office. The Skype logo's on top of the table, the puppy's walking on the floor, and the flat slate is right on top of the monitor. Next, let's take our dial and let's replace the real person with an avatar. Now notice how this allows her to be present, even though she's not physically in the room. Next, let's adjust the environment itself and make the entire thing virtual. Notice now how we have a virtual place with virtual people and virtual objects. Finally, we'll take our reality mixer and graft back the real space into it. The spatial mapping, which you see as little blue dots, will allow you to see and spatially map walls, ceilings, floors, tables, and even people so that you can safely move through these virtual environments. To me, this is the future of computing. And this is what I mean when I say mixed reality. In the future, we won't need to choose between transparent or opaque devices. Devices will adapt instantly, blending the real and the virtual into mixed realities. Now this will unlock new experiences, experiences that are anchored in the world around us. And this is why mixed reality will forever change the way we work, communicate, learn, and play. From medicine to public sector to aerospace. From architecture to education to Hollywood. Companies are digitally transforming with mixed reality. So let's take a look at how a local Japan construction company is digitally transforming with mixed reality. Windows 10 is the only operating system that provides this much opportunity for our partners and this much choice for our customers. We have the most complete platform for mixed reality, and we continue to lead the space as the only operating system to allow different mixed reality headsets to communicate with each other through a single and consistent user interface, standardized input, and a universal app platform for developers to target. Windows 10 is the only operating system created from the ground up for mixed reality devices. From the most immersive and most affordable virtual reality headsets to Hololens, the most complete and still only fully self-contained holographic computer. But the work doesn't stop there. And I'm happy to announce that we are working with partners around the world to grow our mixed reality landscape. One example is here in Japan, where we are partnering with mobile game publisher Gumi to essentially help support incubation programs in the Tokyo VR startups and the Seoul VR startups. Are you ready to put it all together? Forget virtual versus augmented reality. The virtual and the real are already mixing in a delicious mixed reality landscape. The blueprint is in front of all of us. And over the last 12 months, we have witnessed custom solutions done by incredible partners, ranging from NASA, allowing scientists to walk on the surface of Mars, to Case Western Reserve University, which enables students to learn medicine in brand new ways. But imagine the transformative power when these communication, productivity, and creativity applications are created and genericized by all of you. And with that in mind, let's leave the present and let's take a step into the future. This is what I believe the world will look like in about 24 to 36 months. Now, when envisioning the future, I like to sketch. I like to think about these pictures because at the end of the day, pictures are worth 1,000 words. At first glance, we're all familiar with this picture. It's just a physical place with some physical people, some real people in it, and some virtual objects. But there are two things that I hope that together will make different over the next 24 or so months that are profoundly different about the scene. Thing number one, what you're seeing here is a shift from personal computing to collaborative computing. And let me explain why I think that's important. If you think about the history of computing from the 1970s to today, all content is bound to a device, which is at the end of the day bound to a person. Enter the term personal computing. You can choose what you want to do with the device that sits in front of you or the device that sits in your pocket. And at the end of the day, if you choose to take the device somewhere, the content goes with you and life goes on. But notice what's happening here. The content is not anchored to a device. As a matter of fact, the content is not anchored to a person. The content is actually anchored to the place. In this case, the devices over these people's heads, they're just lenses. They're lenses that allow them to see this mixed reality landscape. Thing number two. Now, how many people here in the audience are fans of anime? Raise your hand. A lot of people, yes, some people. I'm a big fan of anime. So at the end of the day, in anime, we're all familiar with concepts like familiars. These little entities that help you throughout your journeys. Thing number two you're seeing here is that there's no interfaces. There's no common controls. There's no buttons. There's no even a personal assistant because this is a collaborative session. This is an operating system redesigned with AI at the center, which allows you to interact with it by just using your voice. You see that these two people are just talking about their session with a little AI, but not just an AI with a body. And you can think about this, think about all of the work you just saw about bots and things like that, and think about what changes once you put a body to that AI. So that's the beginning of the scene. As we go forward, they want to call in other people because at the end of the day, when you start doing collaborative sessions, more often than not, you want other people in the room as the conversation starts. Here you see the power of our universal Windows platform with over 50,000 Windows Universal apps coming into play. This is just a flat app. It's just a slate in front of you that's not been designed for the mixed reality landscape. And remember, mixed reality is about it's about embracing. And you see that we embrace all of this content. So they select person one and person two. And as soon as that happens, person one gets an invite. Person one is sitting in front of a PC, in this case, a beautiful Surface Studio. She doesn't have a mixed reality capable device. But remember, we're about unifying, we're about embracing. It's about leaving nobody behind. And she can join that session from her 2D screen. Person two is sitting in a VR headset tethered to a console. He gets the invite, and he also is able to participate in the scene. Now look what happens. You have 4 people who are feeling present in a collaborative environment. One is coming from PC, one is coming from a console and a VR device, and 2 people are coming in with the beautiful self-contained holographic computer. And they're interacting. They're present. They almost forget that they're not physically present in the room together. There were no buttons, there were no permissions, they were just there. So let's keep going and imagine for a minute. If you're an ISV or you're an entrepreneur, just think about the possibilities of presence alone. Conversations where today you put a premium on being there in person. So now, notice what happens. The woman who's coming from a PC without a headset is able to interact with the scene by just gazing at our little mixed reality bot. She didn't have to come up with permissions or press buttons and figure out who had different controls. Notice that she's coming from a keyboard and mouse. Notice that the person on the Xbox is coming in with, our new motion controllers for Windows Mixed Reality. And notice how, of course, the people on Hololens are using the most natural way of input through their gaze, gestures, and voice. This is the power of having a standardized input, allowing everybody to collaborate as if they were there. So she has a simple request. She says, can you get the Pinterest board with all of our previous ideas so that we can pick from the ideas and mood boards that we were working on with earlier? Sure enough, Pinterest opens up. So now, Pinterest opens up, it's a website. It opens up on Edge. Edge is still a flat Slate application. But notice what happens next. Edge implements WebVR, and by now, Pinterest is implementing WebVR in this future, and someone can just grab the chair from within Edge and pin it to the world with more reality than ever before. Now just think about it if you're a 3D creator or aspire to become one. Mixed reality is a growth opportunity for all of us, and it's here today. So now we look at the scene and look at everything that's going on. You have 4 people that are interacting there. Some are coming from PC, some are coming from VR, some are coming from Hololens. They're coming from different modalities of input, and yet they're all feeling present. Now imagine for a minute they all left the room, or someone else walked in. The content would still be there, because this is a shift where we move from personal computing into collaborative computing. Now, if you haven't joined us yet, I hope you will. And I hope we'll collaborate together over the next 24 to 36 months to make all of this a reality. Mixed reality is the future of computing. And the future of computing will be written by Windows developers. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Build, and thank you.